I'm about to go over some tips to make sure that you're following best practices for sending out emails to your email list. These are tips that every life coach needs to know, but probably you weren't taught this when you learned how to coach. It's just different skills that are needed to start and grow a coaching business versus delivering that coaching. They're just different skills. By following these, you are doing yourself as well as your potential clients a huge favor by making sure that everyone who signed up for your list is going to get the information that they need to hear. On the other hand, by not following these tried and true principles, then you risk your message falling flat or not making it to your ideal clients at all. Yes, that is a possibility. You can send an email and it literally doesn't make it to your recipient who you wanted to send it to. I'm going to jump right in. The first tip is to make sure that your lead magnet is absolutely helpful, is as helpful as it can be for your ideal clients. This matters way more than you may initially think. A lot of life coaches treat the lead magnet like a checkbox. Like, I just need something free so I can start collecting email addresses. Maybe because someone told you to. But the truth is, your lead magnet sets the tone for your entire business. It is the first real taste that someone gets of what it's like to learn from you, to be coached by you, and eventually to trust you. That is what this is all about. It is about trust. If it's thrown together or light on value, people will assume that the rest of your coaching is the same way. And realistically, they'll never stick around to actually find out. But if it's packed with insights, helpful tools, and makes them feel like, whoa, this changed something for me, then you've just built a ton of trust. And that's the bridge that leads someone from, I don't know who you are, to take my money, I want to work with you. So if you've ever worried about giving away too much for free, don't. Stop thinking that. I want you to flip that thought. Your freebie is a sample of what it's like to work with you. If that's what they can get for free, imagine what they'll believe is possible with your paid offer. And that's when everything changes. So even though that this list that I'm going through is all about email marketing, the lead magnet is that important that I had to put it in here because it sets the tone for every email and piece of content at all that your ideal client gets from you. That was number one. That leads me right into this second email marketing tip, and that is to provide value for your ideal client. Specifically, consistently showing up and consistently providing value to your audience. A lot of life coaches get stuck thinking, I don't want to annoy people with too many emails, or I don't even know what to say every week. I know I've thought both of those. I'm sure you've thought both of those. But here's the thing. Email is one of the primary places where the relationship gets built. For most life coaches, it's not your Instagram feed. It's not your fancy website. It's this consistent little message showing up in their inbox that says, hey, I see you. I know what you're struggling with. And here's something that can help. And when you do that regularly, not once in a while, not only when you're selling something, but week in and week out, your people start to trust you. They start to look forward to hearing from you. And eventually, when they're ready to get help, you're the coach they think of first. So don't overthink it. Show up, be helpful, be real, give value. I'll say that again, give value. Even a short story or a quick tip can make a difference. You're not just sending emails, you are building trust. That is why you're here with me learning about email marketing strategies. It's about building trust. All right. That was number two. This third strategy is probably more what you expected to hear when you heard email marketing. It's that you need to write compelling subject lines. Before I get to exactly what that means, first I'm going to cover exactly what is the purpose of the subject line. In short, it's to get you to open the email. If your ideal client doesn't open the email, then they will never get the value that you pack into the body. Your subject line is like the headline of your email. It's the first impression, It's the hook that grabs attention. There are a few tactics you can use to your advantage. Number one is keep it clear, specific, and short. You want the recipient to know exactly what the email is about, or the benefit of them opening it, or maybe why it's important for them. But you only have a handful of words to get the information across. Humans glance through email subject lines because we all get junk email. The first few words are the most important. You want to get the most important keywords in early. You don't want it to drag out as long as your email marketing system will allow. Each email inbox will display a different amount of characters, but you want to keep it to just a handful of words total. Because it's so short, you will naturally end up making it very specific because you are only using the most important words. Another way of making it specific is using their first name. Put that in the subject. It's more likely to grab their attention and just makes it feel more personal. So this second tip. The next tip is to use square brackets. Take the one or two words that you want the recipient to read more than any other words and put them in brackets, the square brackets. Sometimes it can just be their name. This one simple tip can single-handedly up your open rate. The third and last subject line tip is to use shorthand. The idea here is that you want to make it look like it came from a close friend. Take a look at some of the emails that you've received from friends. Make your marketing subject lines look like those. Use lowercase, include emojis, maybe allow very informal punctuation. My most successful email subject line ever looks like it is written from an acquaintance. The subject line is, remember me, first name, and that's it. It's all lowercase except for their first name, which gets capitalized, or really it's just however they typed it in when they signed up. Since discovering it when crafting an email nurture sequence for a client, I created the subject line and it ended up working, and I used it in multiple nurture sequences, and now I've used it over and over in different iterations. I use it later on in the nurture sequence, and the body summarizes some of the main points that I've talked about in earlier emails and asks if they have any questions. More people have responded to this one email than any other email I've ever written. That was the subject line. You may have pieced together that what goes in the body is whatever provides the most value for your ideal clients. People will learn to expect that your emails are worth opening. Somewhere in the body comes a natural opportunity for you to let them know how to take the next step in learning what you are explaining. Because there's just not enough room in the email to tell someone everything you know about that topic. This is where the call to action comes into play. In the vast majority of your emails, aiming for 80% of your emails to be educational. So the call to action should be to further content from you that tells them more, how they can learn more. You can link to your engagement engine, and that's just what I call your content that you create in order to allow your audience to continue learning about you and building trust. You hear me say that a lot, building trust. Your call to action should be clear. You have to tell your recipient exactly what you want them to do and how that will benefit them. Another piece of information that you'll want to sprinkle into your emails from time to time is client success stories. This social proof is just great for your audience to hear, as it provides another angle to building trust. It's not just making people trust you that you can provide the results that you say you can, but you're also sharing testimonials from your clients who have experienced those results. This next tip number 5, is something you will do naturally, but I want you to do it in an intentional way. And this tip is to analyze and optimize your email performance. You may want to send the email, wait a few minutes, then start checking the open and click rates every 10 minutes forever. But that is absolutely not what I'm talking about. You need to check your email open and click rates on 2 different frequencies. On the one hand, it's when you start to write your email, check the previous 2 or 3 emails, open and click rate. This way, what has been working or not working for you will be fresh in your mind, and you'll make changes based off of that information. On the other hand, you need to periodically look at how your open and click rates are trending over the last few months. If you see a general trend, one way or the other, That's good to know in order to do more of that, or maybe it's time to make a change. So when I say to analyze your email performance, you are just checking it one time before you write each email, and then a more in-depth analysis about once a month. That's it. We're not checking it multiple times per day. The last tip is something that I did not have to learn when I first started writing emails, but it became necessary around February of 2024 when Google and Yahoo implemented stricter spam filtering policies. It mostly affected senders who send out over 5,000 emails daily. That means if you send in one email in one day, and if you have more than 5,000 recipients of that email, that bumps you into this category. I have a client who does send much more than that number of emails daily, so I had to learn this tip. Also, it's not as clearly spelled out, but it is a good idea for everyone to follow this practice that I'm going to get to, even if you don't send out 5,000 emails daily, because it will still help improve your chances of landing in someone's inbox and not their promotions tab or junk folder. The change that happened was that Google and Yahoo and more email providers by now is that they keep track of individual senders' reputation instead of just grouping them all together that came from a particular email marketing system like ConvertKit, Aweber, MailChimp, Constant Contact, and so on. Google and Yahoo keep track of how many opens, clicks, and reports of spam that each sender gets. If they think your emails are unwanted by your recipients, aka low open and click rates, and people are reporting your emails as spam, then they will send your emails to the promotions tab, junk folder, or worse, maybe not deliver it at all. That is a possibility, and you won't know about it. Well, there are ways to find out, but they don't tell you about it. So it is very important to follow this last tip, tip number 6. The tip that I'm talking about is sending more emails to warm leads and fewer emails to cold leads. This shows the email inbox providers that your recipients want your emails. When you send an email to just a warm segment of your audience, so you can set up the segment that is just those people who have clicked in the last 30, 60, or 90 days, then your open and click rates will be high for those emails, and few people will report them as spam because they're expecting your email. The email providers remember that and are sure to send through your emails that go to your whole list that include people who are not likely to click. This is a very important step. A simple way of setting this up is to create a segment of your audience who have clicked in the last 90 days. Send them one email, then send your whole list an email, and send to your 90-day list and back and forth. For most coaches, this will be good. We can get into more complex strategies if you think you have a deliverability problem now and you need help to improve it. If so, contact me. I can walk you through it. Also, not mentioned here on the topic of deliverability is to maintain a clean list. If no one clicks on an email for years, they probably need to go. And that's a separate topic. If that's what you need to hear, email me. Okay, I think I need to wrap it up. I could go on and on about email marketing and deliverability, but I'm going to stop it here. If you have any questions regarding email marketing or deliverability, you can always email me. See you next week.